As a housewife, I won a lot of prize money, and the whole family was overjoyed. My husband even quit his job to go around the world, and my son didn't want to go to school anymore. Starting to fantasize about living the life of a rich kid. My mother-in-law was so happy she was in tears, practically wanting to hold me in the palm of her hand. Relatives who had previously wanted to cut ties with me were now showering me with attention. On the day before the award ceremony, I tore up the lottery ticket that could have changed my life in front of the whole family. Looking at the numbers on the screen, my hands started trembling uncontrollably. The last two digits were 0511. They all matched. I really won the $1 million jackpot. This huge surprise nearly made me faint. My husband came in from outside, sounding impatient. "Why aren't you cooking yet? I'm starving." Seeing the lottery ticket in my hand, he immediately said, "Olivia, what's going on? You don't earn a single penny all day, yet you spend money on lottery tickets." I was stunned for a moment and quickly explained, "It's only $2. I took my mom to the hospital for a checkup today and saw it there. Actually, I was going to buy it for my husband. He loves scratch-off tickets and lottery tickets. And he's been in a bad mood lately. I just wanted to spend $2 to make him happy." My husband shouted angrily, "$2 isn't money, you stay at home all day. Don't you know how hard it is to earn money?" I felt wronged and blurted out, "I quit my job to take care of the family, didn't I? And you buy things all the time too?" My husband snatched the lottery ticket from my hand and tried to tear it up. "Can I be like you? I'm under so much pressure every day. What's wrong with buying a lottery ticket?" My heart raced and I almost shouted, "Don't do that. Give it back to me." "This lottery ticket won." My husband was taken aback and said, "Are you joking? How could we be so lucky?" I seized the opportunity to take the lottery ticket back. I carefully unfolded it and showed him the numbers. His eyes widened, and he looked at it several times before finally confirming that we had won. He was so excited he almost jumped up. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? I almost missed out on 10 million. He reached out to take the ticket for a closer look, but I quickly slipped it into my phone case and tucked it into my pocket. "There's no need to look again. It's definitely a winner." My husband hugged me tightly and said happily, "Honey, I'll keep the money. I've been thinking about quitting my job, and with this, we can travel the world." Hearing him say that, I still felt a little uneasy. I reminded him, before we claim the prize, "Don't tell anyone else." My husband kept nodding, even offering to cook dinner to let me relax. Our son came home from school holding a failing test paper. He slammed it on the table and said, "Mom, the teacher wants you to sign this." After saying that, he sat heavily on the sofa and started snacking. I picked up the test paper and couldn't help asking, "Why are your grades getting worse and worse?" "Did you study hard?" My son replied impatiently, "You always make me study." My classmates scored worse than me, but their moms rewarded them with a trip abroad. "You're always pushing me. I regret being born into such a poor family." I was speechless for a moment, but my husband rushed out of the kitchen. My son pouted and said, "At least my dad knows how to make money. You just stay at home all day." After saying that, he excitedly showed off to my husband, "Dad, I was right, wasn't I? I wanted to buy a video game console," but before I could finish speaking, my husband slapped him across the face, leaving him stunned. My husband pointed at him with a spatula and said, "How dare you speak to your mother like that?" My son's eyes filled with tears as he covered his face and trembled, asking, "Dad, why did you hit me?" "I hit you because you deserve it." I felt uneasy inside. Her husband continued, "Your mom won $1 million from the lottery. From now on, anyone who doesn't respect your mom has to leave." The son's eyes widened in excitement. "Mom, am I going to be a rich kid now? That's great. I don't want to go to school anymore." He jumped onto the sofa excitedly and shouted, "Mom, I want to buy the latest iPhone and computer, and also a big TV for playing games." My husband laughed and said, "No problem, but we haven't claimed the prize yet, so you have to keep it a secret." He turned to me, wrapped his arms around my shoulders and said, "Son, he's family. It's okay to tell him." I nodded reluctantly, but the unease in my heart grew heavier. Sure enough, my mother-in-law came over that evening. As soon as she entered the door, she grabbed my hand and said, "We all know now. I've retired early, and from now on, I can finally enjoy life." I frowned at my husband. He shrugged indifferently. "We're family. My mom worked hard to raise me. She knows what happened. As long as everyone's happy, that's all that matters." My mother-in-law asked expressionlessly, "What's wrong?" Are you still trying to hide this from us? The money for the lottery ticket was given by my son. The lottery ticket should rightfully belong to my son. My husband hurried out to mediate. Enough. Enough, this money belongs to all of us. No one can claim it alone. My husband held my hand and said, don't wait any longer. Let's go claim the prize tomorrow. I felt a bit uneasy, but I also thought, that's 10,000 yuan. Money can solve problems. It's not a real issue. But I repeatedly warned her not to tell anyone else. To my surprise, the next morning, my mother arrived with a bunch of things. She threw a potato covered in dirt onto the floor. I looked at her in surprise. Mom, why are you here? My mother rubbed her hands together and smiled broadly. I heard you've struck it rich when you got married. Our family didn't receive a single penny as a dowry. Isn't it time to make up for that now? How did you find out? My mother crossed her arms and said, how could I not know about your winning the lottery? If it weren't for your mother-in-law showing it off on her social media, I wouldn't have known either. After saying that, she looked disappointed. Daughters who marry out are like water poured out. Don't you want to help your maternal family at all? My mother-in-law felt a bit awkward and whispered. I was so happy I forgot about the in-laws. My mother barged into the room. Let's talk about how to divide the millions first. Mom started by demanding 5 million. My daughter has worked so hard for your family over the years. Giving her half of the money to her birth family shouldn't be a problem, right? Since marrying my husband, our relationship with my mother has been strained because we didn't give her any dowry. Over the past decade, no matter how well I treated her, she always felt I was an untrustworthy person. As soon as she spoke, my husband grew unhappy. Why should we give you half? This is the Smith family's money. Even if Olivia bought the lottery ticket, it's still our joint property as a couple. It has nothing to do with your family. My mother-in-law sneered, that's right. I think this money should all go to my son and grandson. Your daughter just stays at home enjoying herself. Why should she get so much? I've already decided. Once I get this million, I'll buy a big villa in the city, then a nice car, and save the rest for my grandson's wedding. My mother shouted angrily. I worked so hard to raise my daughter, only to have her support your family. I don't care. If you don't give me half, I'll stay here and refuse to leave. Seeing my mother acting so unreasonable, my husband quietly squeezed my arm and said, can't you try to reason with your mother? This is $5 million. I felt a little uneasy. Everyone was thinking about how to spend the money, but no one cared about my feelings. This lottery ticket was won by me. I couldn't help but say, everyone, stop arguing. I won the lottery, so it's my decision how to divide it. Before I could explain further, the phone rang suddenly. It was the hospital. Is this MTKS, Olivia? Your test results are in. We're concerned there may be a tumor in your uterus. When can you come in for a follow-up examination? I felt like I'd been struck by lightning and almost lost my balance. My husband rushed over to support me and shouted at my mother, your daughter is sick, and you still have the nerve to ask for money. My mother paused for a moment but persisted. What does my illness have to do with you? You're the one who brought her into this family. My mother came over and hugged my arm, pretending to cry, my daughter. You're so unfortunate. You've only been married for a few years and already have this illness. Daughter, come home with me. I'll take good care of you. My mother cried for a long time, but not a single tear fell. She didn't even cry on my wedding day. I didn't feel the slightest bit moved. All I could think about was that I might die. I'm only in my 30s, and I have to face something like this. My mother-in-law didn't want to let go either. She held my hand tightly and said, Olivia, you can't leave. You're the biological mother of my grandson. To be blunt, even if you might be in danger, you should leave something for your son. My son. While eating potato chips, casually asked, Mom, when are you going to buy lottery tickets? I'm still waiting to upgrade my phone. My husband, at least showing some humanity, angrily said, this is your mother. She's sick and you don't even feel sad. After saying that, my husband patted my shoulder and said, honey, don't worry. Even if you really have cancer, I won't leave you. Seeing the deep affection in my husband's eyes, my mood finally improved a bit. I nodded, gripped his hand tightly, and said, then let's use this $1 million prize money for my medical treatment. What do you think? My husband looked a bit nervous, his eyes flickering. But he said, no problem. After all, you're my wife. My mother-in-law wanted to say something, but my husband quickly stopped her. My mother rolled her eyes and said unhappily, you're such a troublemaker. We just got some money, and now you want to spend it on yourself? Your illness won't cost that much, will it? We'll have to wait until I get the results. Today, there was no hope of receiving the award. I took a taxi to the hospital for a follow-up checkup, but no one in the family was willing to accompany me. My husband sighed helplessly. I haven't quit my job yet. I can't just skip work like this. The mother-in-law wanted to hurry back to her square dancing. The son was engrossed in his game, and the mother lay down and started snoring loudly. After returning from the hospital, I still had to cook dinner for the family. Sitting at the dinner table, I had no appetite at all. My husband asked while eating, "What did the doctor say? Is it really cancer?" I lowered my head. My voice heavy. "It's confirmed. It's late-stage cancer." My husband froze for a moment, a fleeting expression of emotion flashing in his eyes. "Is that true?" "Honey, don't worry. Even if I lose everything, I won't give up on you." At that moment, my mother-in-law furrowed her brows and slammed her chopsticks on the table. "It's already late-stage cancer. What's the point of treating it? Aren't we just wasting money? If I had cancer, I'd jump off the building right now to spare the family the trouble." My mother hurriedly asked, "How much does late-stage cancer treatment cost?" "Not a single penny of my $5 million. Your older brother is still a single man and hasn't married yet." Her son exclaimed, "Mom, are you really sick with cancer?" My nose grew slightly stuffy, thinking my son had finally understood, but his next words left me feeling a chill in my heart. He asked sadly, "Does that mean my iPhone is no longer a gift? You won't stop buying things for me just because you're sick, will you?" I felt completely overwhelmed. This table was filled with my family, yet I felt no comfort at all. My husband finally said he would accompany me to the hospital. He patted my shoulder and said, "Wife, tomorrow we'll go collect the prize money, and every penny must be used for your treatment. However, you can't spend it all. I did some research today, and the prognosis for advanced cancer isn't very good. Maybe we should consider end-of-life care sooner rather than later. I think it would be better to spend the money on a trip, maybe 20 or 30,000. As for the rest of the money," my husband took off his glasses, wiped away his tears, and said, "The rest of the money is for us who are still alive. And our son, we have to leave something for him, right?" Our son hurriedly nodded and said, "Yes, Mom, you can't be so selfish. I still want to buy a house and get married someday. You have to leave some money for me." I was so angry I wanted to laugh, but I couldn't help standing up and saying, "Don't you want me to live well? What does it matter to you if I don't give you the money?" My mother was the first to get upset. She slapped the table and stood up, saying, "What kind of attitude is that? Your own affairs have nothing to do with me. Either give me the lottery ticket today, or give me $5 million, my mother-in-law sneered. "You two are just as selfish as each other, only thinking about getting the lottery ticket." My husband had been staring at my phone the whole time and suddenly snatched it away. "Why didn't you just give me the lottery ticket earlier? I don't think this illness even needs to be treated. It's incurable anyway." My husband really wanted to open the phone case, but my mother saw this and panicked, rushing over to try to grab it. "Why? The lottery ticket also belongs to my daughter." "My daughter's lottery ticket is mine," my mother-in-law joined in, and the three of them started arguing, pulling each other's hair and clothes, fighting fiercely. I clenched my teeth, feeling utterly ridiculous. This was the family I had always treated with such care. My son rolled his eyes, impatiently saying, "Mom, you're the one who started all this." I couldn't help but slap him, shouting, "Shut up, you've been spoiled rotten." While my son was stunned, I had already climbed onto the table using a stool. Holding the lottery ticket in my hand, I shouted, "Stop fighting. The ticket is here." The room fell silent instantly. The next moment, I held up the ticket and said, "Stop arguing. Since I don't have much time left, none of you will get this money." My husband turned pale with fear and quickly opened his phone case, but there was nothing inside. He panicked and said, "Dear, don't be impulsive. That's $1 million for an ordinary family like ours. Working hard all our lives wouldn't even earn us $1 million. If you really do this, no one will take care of your illness?" I felt a pang of sadness. My husband's eyes held a threat, but my resolve only grew stronger. There is only one disease in this world, and that is poverty. I have been tormented by poverty, completely stripped of my dignity. My mother-in-law forced a smile and said, "Olivia, why are you getting so worked up? I didn't say I wouldn't let you see a doctor." My mother hurriedly agreed, "That's right, come down quickly. What if you slip and tear the lottery ticket?" I held back my tears and said calmly, "I have cancer and am about to die, but all you care about is the lottery ticket? Am I not even worth as much as this ticket? My son covered his face, finally understanding, and angrily said, "You're not even worth as much as the lottery ticket, are you? I don't know why I have such a selfish mother. If you're really capable, just tear us up. If you tear us up, none of us will want you anymore." It was those words that made me act without hesitation. I immediately tore the lottery ticket into pieces. The ticket, which was originally worth millions, turned into fragments in my hands. Then, I threw it into the air with all my strength, and the colorful pieces scattered in the air. My husband instinctively reached out to catch it, but he only grabbed a fragment of the ticket. He broke down and shouted, "Olivia, you're so stupid you'll get sick, and no one will help you." My mother and mother-in-law were crawling on the ground like animals, fighting over the lottery ticket fragments. My husband was so angry his face turned red, and he pulled me down, raising his hand to hit me. "Olivia, you're being too much if you can't live well. Do you have to make us suffer too?" I didn't react in time and took the slap. Everything went blurry before my eyes, and I tasted blood in my mouth. I couldn't help but laugh. "So what? I'm almost gone. Why should I care about you?" After saying that, I secretly hid a piece of the lottery ticket. My mother-in-law sat on the ground crying angrily. She slapped her legs and said, "This is terrible. How could our family marry such a wasteful daughter-in-law? All the opportunities we worked so hard for have been ruined by her." My mother came over and grabbed my clothes, saying sternly, "Olivia, I don't believe someone as selfish as you would really tear up the lottery ticket. Tell me, where is it?" The others seemed to have figured it out too. My husband's expression softened slightly. "Honey, are you testing us? Are you really not sick? Where did you hide the real lottery ticket?" I touched my burning face and said dejectedly, "Why would I lie to you? If you don't believe me, just piece the lottery ticket together yourselves and see." Seeing my resolute attitude, my husband's breathing became rush. He glared at me angrily and said, "Olivia, don't lie to me. Otherwise, when you get into trouble, I won't help you either." After saying that, he knelt down and started picking up the pieces on the ground. My palms were drenched in cold sweat as I clenched the pieces tightly in my hands. My mother-in-law and mother, who rarely argued, were now kneeling together to piece the lottery ticket back together. I whispered, "Even if we put it back together, what's the point? They probably won't accept this lottery ticket anymore." My mother glared at me angrily and said, "How dare you say that? If it weren't for you, I could have been rich by now. What a terrible reason." My mother-in-law sighed helplessly. "That's your daughter for you, so selfish." My son, eating ice cream impatiently, said, "I think she's just trying to fool you. Without money, how could she afford medical treatment?" My son pointed out the window and said, "If she really wanted to end her life, she would have jumped already." His voice was sharp and piercing, like needles stabbing my heart. However, he was right about one thing. I really didn't tear up the lottery ticket. My husband carefully pieced together the last number, suddenly feeling all his strength drain away as he collapsed to his knees. How could it be? How could it really be this number? He knew the numbers on the lottery ticket by heart. They were his birthday. The next moment, he jumped to his feet, nearly losing control as he grabbed my clothes and shouted, "How dare you tear up my lottery ticket? How dare you? That was 10 million. It could have completely changed my life. Do you know how many things I could do with 10 million? I only earn 3,000 a month, and I've already handed in my resignation. What am I supposed to do now?" I pushed him away forcefully and retorted, "Do whatever you want, don't blame me. It's your own fault for being incapable." My husband clenched his fists, gritted his teeth, and looked furious. My mother-in-law immediately came over to scold me. "What's wrong with 3,000? You don't earn a single penny. What right do you have to speak to my son like that? Besides, you owe my son 10 million now. Even if you sold yourself, you couldn't pay it back." I sat down slowly, pulled out the chair, and said, "The lottery ticket I bought is mine. I can do whatever I want with it. It has nothing to do with you. Why do you think the money from the lottery is your son's?" Deep down, I knew why things had come to this. It was because I didn't work. As a housewife, I had no say in the matter. Even on days when I had to ask others for help just to buy a cabbage, no one truly respected me. Not even my own son, whom I raised with so much effort, treated me like a free nanny. My mother-in-law was so angry she couldn't speak, just pointing at me and sobbing for a while. My son stood in front of his grandmother and shouted at me, "How could you speak to my grandmother like that? You're so problematic. Our family doesn't need you at all." I turned to my husband and asked, "What do you think? Do you plan to divorce me?" My husband didn't look at me and said firmly, "If it weren't for you tearing up the lottery ticket, we wouldn't have ignored you. Blame yourself." I took a deep breath and nodded. "All right, if that's the case, I don't want to be a burden to you." My mother slapped my back hard, causing me to feel a sharp pain. She shouted, "Who said anything about divorce? Why should we divorce?" She pointed at me and said, "Olivia, if you dare to divorce, don't ever come back to us." I couldn't help but ask, "Why, even if I don't get treated, can't I go home?" My mother looked at me in shock. "You wouldn't really want to stay at your mother's house, would you? How could you be such a daughter? You don't care about the family at all and always cause trouble. If something happens to you, you won't be able to return to our family's ancestral grave." My mother-in-law urged me to go to my mother's side. "Hurry up. A selfish woman like you doesn't belong in our family. My son will marry again in the future. If you die in this house, it will become a haunted house." I looked at my son, who was playing a game, clinging to the last shred of hope, and asked, "Michael, do you think so too? Your mother is dead." "How can you say that?" My son answered impatiently. "I think you're the one with the problem. Do you really expect me to take care of you? You tore up the lottery ticket yourself. This is all your own doing." I had already given up hope. I nodded and said, "I understand, Daniel. Let's get a divorce." My husband acted indifferent and said, "Don't blame me. Blame your own bad luck and impulsiveness. Otherwise, you could have enjoyed that money one more time." Just as we were about to leave for the Civil Affairs Bureau, my mother-in-law suddenly stopped us. She glanced around and said with a fake smile, "Olivia, wait a moment. Where's your medical report? Let me see it." I couldn't help but frown. "What do you mean by that? Are you accusing me of faking my illness?" My mother-in-law crossed her arms and snorted coldly. "That's hard to say. If you really were faking it, you'd want to keep the millions for yourself." My husband suddenly realized what was going on and turned to my mother-in-law, glaring at me. "Olivia, you're so cunning, you'd even abandon your own family for money." My son put down his video game and pulled my hand, shaking it. "Mom, is what Grandma said true? Are you just pretending? Where's the lottery ticket?" My mother's attitude completely changed, and she leaned in with a smile. "Girl, tell me quietly. Are you really sick? Is the lottery ticket real or fake?" I was fed up with the phone, grabbed the lottery ticket from the table, and threw it hard, sending it flying everywhere. "This is the lottery ticket?" Then I slammed my medical report on the table. "This is the medical report. What do you think?" I grabbed my husband's hair, pressed him against the report, and glared at him, forcing him to look closely. "Look, this clearly isn't a tumor." "What is it?" My husband was so scared he dropped his glasses and struggled in my hands. "Olivia, have you lost your mind? I don't want to see your disgusting report." I softened my tone slightly, let go of his hand, and said, "Honey, since you don't believe me, maybe we should just get a divorce. While I'm alive, I'm yours. After I die, you can put my ashes on your bedside table." My husband hurriedly said, "That's not possible. It seems we should just divorce. I don't have the money to pay for your treatment. We have a house and a car. How could we not have money?" My husband immediately said, "You're really something. Do you want me to sell the house and the car to pay for your treatment? Even if it's not for me, shouldn't you consider our son?" I've never seen such a selfish mother. My husband stood on the moral high ground and sternly said to me, "Someone like you should just end your own life. Living is just a waste of resources. Do you understand?" My mother-in-law frowned and moved away from me, saying, "If you're sick, stay away from us. Do you understand? Otherwise, your illness will affect us." My mother slung the big bag of potatoes back onto her back and muttered, "I don't care about your family's affairs. Anyway, there's no money at home to pay for your medical bills. I'm in a hurry to catch the train, Olivia. Remember to reimburse me for my train ticket." I didn't respond, and she actually rummaged through my bag, finally taking a few dozen dollars in pocket money with a look of disgust. I divorced my husband and rented a small, old apartment under my husband's mocking gaze. I calmly closed the door. Suddenly, I pulled out a small piece of torn ticket from my pocket and couldn't help but smile. That ticket was actually one he had bought earlier, and there was nothing special about it. The torn corner was the serial number. The winning ticket is now safely stored in my safe. I changed my appearance, quietly claimed the $1 million prize, and scheduled the best doctor to perform the surgery. There was indeed a tumor in my uterus, but it was benign, and removing it would allow me to recover almost completely. A year later, I had fully recovered and even used the money to open a small restaurant, which was doing quite well because the food was delicious. I never expected to see my ex-husband again here, He was bending over the table, toasting the people at the table, looking at his wrinkled suit and messy hair, completely different from his former sharp appearance. The waitress whispered to me, "Sir, the people at that table are all insurance salesmen who have been trying to sell us policies." "Look, that's the guy." The staff member pointed at my ex-husband and said, "He's the worst performer, he hasn't even closed a single deal. I heard his mother is sick. And he's desperate for money." I was pouring tea for the customers at the next table when I suddenly heard my ex-husband's surprised voice from behind me. "Olivia, you're not dead." I turned around and saw my ex-husband rushing over with an excited expression, grabbing my hand. "You're not dead. Why didn't you come home? How much can you earn working as a waitress here? Michael and my mom both miss you. Let's get remarried tomorrow." I pushed his hand away without expression. "Who wants to remarry you? How can you possibly deserve me in your current state?" My ex-husband froze for a moment, then angrily pointed at me and shouted, "What are you pretending to be here?" A waitress thinks she's so great, seeing him so angry. I didn't get angry at all, instead, I found it a bit amusing. "I may be a waitress, but you're just an insurance salesman. Is there really such a big difference between us?" After saying that, I turned to leave, but my ex-husband wouldn't let me go and kept chasing after me. "Olivia, can't you just stop this? Come home with me. My mom is waiting for you at the hospital. This is so hard to understand. Why should I wait for you? Are you expecting me to take care of her?" I pushed him away angrily and warned him, "If you keep bothering me, I'll call security." My ex-husband said stubbornly, "Go ahead and call them. I want to ask your boss why they hired a sick employee. What bad luck." I gave him a slap and said coldly, "Tell you what, my illness is already cured. And this store is all mine. I'll see who you go ask." My ex-husband touched his face and mocked, "What are you pretending? You're just a middle-aged woman with poor health. How could you own such a big store? If you said you hooked up with a rich person, I might believe you." My ex-husband said triumphantly, "Olivia, stop pretending. I know you did this on purpose today. It seems I have no objections to you anymore. Why are you still acting so reserved?" The store clerk couldn't stand it anymore and stood in front of me, saying, "How can you talk to our boss like that? There's something wrong here." My ex-husband was stunned, his eyes filled with disbelief. "She's the boss. You're lying to me, right? Watch your mouth. I'm going to complain to your boss." I turned to his colleague and said, "Are you in insurance? I'm looking to buy insurance for my employees. Who can help me with that?" His colleague was taken aback, and a young, handsome guy came over. He smiled broadly and said, "Ma'am, you look so elegant. Let me introduce our insurance products to you." My ex-husband mocked her from the side. "She's just pretending. She's been a housewife for over a decade. Where would she have the money?" However, the handsome guy completely ignored him and focused on serving me. I quickly signed the policy and made the payment. When I heard the notification that 10,000 yuan had been deposited, my husband was speechless. The handsome insurance agent was overjoyed, his smile almost reaching his ears. "Thank you so much. Please let me know if you need anything in the future." My ex-husband suddenly seemed to realize something. He grabbed my hand and asked, "Wife, did you really tear up the lottery ticket?" Before I could answer, the insurance agent quickly pulled him away. "What do you mean by that? How dare you speak to my sister like that? You, the worst performer, dare to shout at my sister?" I thought the matter would be temporarily resolved, but my husband came again the next day, this time with our son. It had been a long time since I saw him, and he had lost a lot of weight, finally looking somewhat presentable. As soon as he saw me, he burst into tears and threw himself at my legs. "Mom, I missed you so much. No one has taken care of me these days. I haven't eaten enough, and my classmates think I'm dirty and won't play with me." As he approached, a foul odor wafted from his body, like a pair of socks that hadn't been washed in a month. I covered my nose and took a step back, saying, "I don't have a son like you. Didn't you say you didn't want me as your mother?" My son tensed up immediately and started crying. "Mom, how can you not forgive me? I'm your own flesh and blood." My ex-husband quickly handed me the roses and pleaded, "Dear, I really know I was wrong. Please come back. Let's start over and live happily together." I looked down at the roses. In all the years we were married, I had never received a single bouquet. I never expected to receive one after the divorce. But in my eyes, these belated roses seemed worthless. I looked at my ex-husband's son and smiled, asking, "I heard your mother is in the hospital. Why aren't you there to accompany her?" My ex-husband froze for a moment, then awkwardly smiled and said, My mother is old. It's just the way it is. When I went for a physical with my mother-in-law, I didn't expect her condition to be worse than mine. But what surprised me even more was how indifferent my ex-husband was toward his own mother. It truly disappointed me. Are you planning to not sell the house and car to help your mother? My ex-husband immediately swore, "Wife, everything that happened before was my mother's fault. As long as you remarry me, I will definitely cut off all ties with her. As for the house and car, I will also persuade her to leave them to us." I smiled slightly. "Oh, I see. Then I'll go to the hospital with you to visit your mother. I'll also let her hear what her good son has to say." At the hospital, my mother-in-law was in a 3-bed ward, and a foul odor wafted out. She was seriously ill. Lying in bed, unable to move, her condition dire. When she saw me, she gave me a displeased look. "Why did you come? Is life not good at your parents' house?" "Yes, the whole family has to work to save money for your brother's dowry. If you want to come back to take care of me, you have to kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times before I'll consider it." I pretended to ask seriously, "Then how much will you pay me?" My mother-in-law gritted her teeth and scolded me. A daughter-in-law taking care of her mother-in-law is her duty. "You still want money?" I rolled my eyes and said, "A caregiver costs 200 a day. Besides, you're so old. What's the point of living anymore? Why don't you just jump off?" My mother-in-law's face turned pale, clearly recalling what she had said earlier. "You're such a heartless person? How could you say that?" My ex-husband quickly shouted at his mother. "If you don't know how to speak, just shut up. Do you know that Olivia is now a big boss?" My mother-in-law looked at my eldest son in disbelief. "How is that possible?" "Nothing is impossible. By the way, I have a gift for you." After saying that, I turned on the voice recorder, and my ex-husband's voice came through clearly. The ex-husband's face turned pale. "Olivia, what are you doing?" I smiled and said, "Let your mother hear your filial piety." The mother-in-law was lying on the bed, shouting excitedly and throwing whatever she could grab. "I'll never leave the RV to you. Don't even think about it. This is more appropriate." I put on my sunglasses, turned around, and walked away. The restaurant had already been sold at a low price to someone else, and I went to Bali for a vacation. The insurance agent, who had previously handled my case, told me that my ex-husband had been fired for frequent absences, and his mother had sold the car and house. He was now preparing to go for medical treatment. The family was going through a tough time, arguing constantly. As for the son, he spent all day playing video games and was in poor condition. They were relying on the money from selling the house to live and pay for medical expenses, and they would run out of money soon. The store clerk and I became good friends, and she secretly told me that her mother had come. There's no doubt her ex-husband gave her the address. I've already moved out of there, but they're still causing trouble. The new store manager called the police directly. My mother was detained for several days and eventually returned home in disgrace. I heard that the woman my brother married has run away, taking several $1,000s in dowry with her. That dowry was money my mother borrowed. So now we not only have to repay the debt, but also start saving again from scratch. After my vacation ended, I decided to travel around. One day, an unknown number added me. He first sent 2 crying emojis, then a long voice message. "Mom, I'm sorry. I finally understand now that everything you said before was right. You were only looking out for me. That's why you always cared so much. I've realized my mistakes. Grandma passed away, and Dad remarried a strict woman who doesn't like me and always yells at me. Mom, can I come find you?" After careful consideration, I realized I had been too indulgent toward my son and that I was indeed at fault. So I replied, "I'm sorry, but that's not possible." After saying that, I immediately blocked him. Life is short and I want to be kinder to myself.